We have the dream house with the pool and the barbecue, and you can buy whatever you want at the grocery store.
I was having a panic attack. I had adrenal exhaustion.
I feel like there's a lot of boxes that I had checked off. 2012, and I'm thinking, there's got to be more to life than what I just experienced since I was in high school. We moved to the Coronado case. 10 years that we sustained this, the Joneses. And we'll just call it the Joneses. We had the house with the pool, the brand new cars always.
What we just assumed we're supposed to do.
That's what you're supposed to do. It felt fulfilling.
Yeah.
It just felt like, but then one day, like I said, the problem is I crunch numbers too much. And one day I remember crunching numbers thinking, this doesn't make sense. There's got to be more. 2010, things came kind of like to a halt. Oh, it came
A
to
hilt.
2009, 10 years ago. Wow, 10 years ago. Okay, 10 years ago, actually, that's what made our life change. I want you to pay attention. If you don't feel physically friggin' amazing, pay attention. 2009, we were living the dream so much so that all of our kids were in competitive sports. I mean, come on, at this point we have 4 kids. Victor's like killing it at work. We have the dream house with the pool and the barbecue, and you can buy whatever you want at the grocery store and brand new cars. And we're going to take Danny to play flag football. Danny, our son, who is not ever going to be good at competitive sports,
yeah,
right?
It's the first time as a flag
But as a
football.
parent, you're just like, you don't know any better, and you just think like, oh my gosh, I want my kid to have playing time. I want them to be so successful so they can get into a good college and prove their worth. And we went and watched him play flag football, and it wasn't even like it was with the YMCA. But there was so much pressure and he was so friggin' happy and sucked at flag football. Right?
Yeah, that's not his athletics. That's not, he wasn't destined for that,
He was just, but the weird thing,
But he was happy, so it don't matter.
He was so happy.
That's not the point. You're getting sidetracked again.
Okay, but no, it's important.
Okay.
It is important because it didn't matter. Like, we got caught up in he wasn't good, instead of like us today would just be like, this is the epitome of us today. Like, I don't care if you're good at it. Like, you're happy. Like,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
It's
That
like
is it.
Meet the Fockers. At the time, we weren't Fockerized.
Sure. Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Okay.
None of this is going to make the cut. I'm like, well, we're driving back. I didn't necessarily feel any difference, but I was driving back. I got sharp neck pain, and I was like, oh, I feel like I'm going to pass out.
I mean, so much so we had to pull over.
I had to pull over. I had to take off my sweatshirt, and I felt like I was going to pass out. Well, looking back, I'm like, I had an anxiety attack. I was having a panic attack. I had adrenal exhaustion.
Panic attack so much so that you're a personal trainer, you feel good, so much so that he went to work and had a panic attack at work, and we're talking, it's not like this was a common thing.
No.
This is out of the ordinary.
I made a client hey, because I felt like I was having heart palpitations, and she's like, hey, can you take me to the ER? And she's like, yeah, sure, get in the car, let's go. And so they took me to the ER. Of course, they found nothing which they necessarily wanted to even talk about. And that's where sometimes that, traditional medicine, if someone said dude, are you stressed? There's a good chance you're just bringing this upon yourself. You have a healthy heart, but you have to check all,
Oh my gosh, he was freaking out. He called me. I'm in the ER. I don't know what's wrong with me. My heart doesn't feel. But I get it. At the time, it feels so real. But in the end, I can tell you, it was 6 months of tests by doctors who are just saying some doctors are saying it's all in your head. We went to endocrinologists. We went through psychologists. All these things. I'm telling you, it's so real now that it was just adrenal exhaustion. And that's why I say pay attention. Because if you feel ever oh my gosh,
wired and tired.
Wired and tired was a good way. But it got even worse than wired and tired. The emotional part was insane.
Well, because you're like end up going into Pandora's box, and someone says, "Well, it's because of it's because of potential past trauma." So you're like, "All right, well, I don't really want to go in there," but like if that's to me, I was like, "Well, I'll jump headlong. It's to rid myself of whatever I was feeling," and that just makes you even more emotional at an already volatile state.
Yeah, absolutely. So keep in mind, I mean, I can't relate because we live like this. I can't relate now because our life is relatively light. But at the time, you're living the dream. You have everything you're supposed to strive for. And here I am, like, my husband's crying all the time.
No, I wasn't. All right. Okay.
Okay.
I was an emotional wreck. Fine. Sure, I was an emotional wreck.
Wait. Okay, don't make me tell about Hawaii. You tell me Hawaii.
God, really? You want to go that far?
Yes.
This could be like a 3-hour video. I mean, on top of that, I had like crazy anxiety. Like I had just to grit my teeth, and they recommended like Xanax, which I took the first one. Like I don't even really drink at the time. I wasn't drinking at all. Now I've relaxed and I have an occasional beer. Then I didn't drink at all, and I took a Xanax. And I'm like, I can't work with kids and be on this stuff. And I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna grit and bear it, which
is amazing because he's amazing with kids. Like we didn't even go into the fact that like eventually he took over the gymnastics program because I had no gymnastics background and is amazing with kids. But he'd take his Xanax. He's like, you're right. You can't friggin' do your job. So we had a trip. It just happened that it coincided with a trip that we already had planned to Hawaii because remember we're not campers then. Honestly, from pretty much when Isabel was born to right before Tati was born, we went to Kauai like once or twice a year. Like that was our thing. We loved Kauai. We'd go to a condo. We'd sit on the beach.
We do a whole lot of nothing.
We'd read. We'd put the kids down for a nap. So it was like we already had this trip planned. I mean, I know exactly the dates. February 10th was his like first started the panic attack. February 11th he's in ER, and like then we were April in Hawaii, and so over that month of March a lot of shit went down. Like this, like you spiral, right? It's easy to spiral. It's so easy to spiral.
Yeah, because you have no clear perspective, and then you feel very out of control, and because you feel out of control, you're
just reaching,
holding
right?
on, yeah, and then
like somebody give me the answer.
And then so you I had a very good client and friend who talked to a psychologist. They set me up with it, and he questioned like tough things that
he asked some hard questions, but in retrospect, maybe not the best questions at the time.
Yeah, well, but certainly not getting on a plane. And then I read a book that talked about previous trauma. Then we get to this beautiful place, and I think I go like 2 days without sleeping really well, and for me, not sleeping is a massive problem. So like 2 days without sleep. By the third day,
if Victor doesn't get a solid 8, don't talk to him.
Yeah, like I'm hallucinating, and then I talked to this psychologist again in Hawaii, and he says, some things about my past that could be linked to how I'm feeling now. And then I still haven't slept, so then I go talk to Robin. I'm hallucinating, and I pretend I'm seeing things. I'm seeing images in our condo, which
he's
I never
literally telling me we're in the condo. He's like,
there's someone standing
there in work boots. I'm like, I have to just go.
And he's got no face, and he has no face, and he's like, and then I go, and he tells, and I go to take. What did I take? I took like some.
Finally, you took like Unisom or something.
Yeah, just Unisom. I finally slept, and then leave Robin alone with that.
I'm scared to go to the bathroom. Yeah. There's a ghost in our condo.
Yeah. So like it really fell apart. Like the achiness and like food allergies and like inverted cortisol. It's it's all related, and you kind of.
That's why we write about stuff about growth mindset, because looking back at it, it was like such an amazing learning process, but it was so painful at the time.
Oh yeah, like
so painful.
Yeah, I was eating like the traditional bodybuilding diet of like very bland chicken and broccoli.
And I lived off chicken broccoli.
And I was gaining weight rapidly. Like my body fat was at an all-time high. I was achy and sore. I couldn't heal injuries. I couldn't sleep right. I knew my hormone levels were off. Like it was bad. I couldn't even keep up with the run, and she just delivered a baby.
Yeah.
Like it was rough, and along with anxiety, depression, certainly anger from like what the heck's going on, and then you start putting the pieces of your life back together again. Like, hey, let's work on this. Now let's work on this. Let's come at it from this way. Now let's come at it from this way. And little by little, you start to put your life back together again.
You're not gonna like this, but I gotta say, if you relate anything to this, I gotta tell you, if you come from Western medicine, I remember my mom, she's nurse and children, she just always like, oh, he needs a CAT scan. And like he has a brain tumor. And then eventually I found naturopath doctors, and like adrenal exhaustion is kind of a common thing.
Now.
You can research it now.
No,
But back
10 years
then, 10 years ago, it was hard to find stuff on.
Dr. Wilson's book.
Dr. Wilson's book was good. Dr. Brian Walsh was amazing. But here's the thing. This was like, it was scary. I'm like, I have 4 kids at the time and a mortgage, and like we're running a business, and you're just seeing, and my husband's like crying, like, not to be, but he's seeing people, and I'm like, it was hard.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, like, I read that, like, you remember what I said, adrenal exhaustion wasn't such a thing, but I'm reading, like, it takes 2 years to recover from that, and here I'm saying, like, 10 years later, I'm like, oh shit, yeah. I remember thinking at the time, like, 2 freaking years? Hell no, I can't do that.
Yeah.
It took 2 years. It really did.
Yeah, it was horrible.
And and in addition,
But great.
it was great. I love you. It was whatever. It probably took 6 months to just feel back on track, and some things we tried and failed. Yeah, and like this is why like everything's so gluten free, but like the whole gluten free movement is a little off too. Like it's not so much gluten free. There's other factors. If you want to know how, I can tell you how, but that's not for this video. We moved past that. Like 2 years went by. We were awesome. It was awesome again. Okay. Somehow, for even as sick as he was, we got pregnant with Tati. You'd think for like how unhealthy you felt, you wouldn't have to be pregnant, but sure enough.
Seems like every time I touched Robin, she got pregnant.
So here's Tati. We have now the 5th. So now here I'm thinking like, okay, it's great. I love homeschooling my kids, touch gymnastics. I feel like there's a lot of boxes that I had checked off. Tati's born, a year more of breastfeeding. Now it's the end of 2011. Let's just round up. 2012, and I'm thinking there's got to be more to life than what I just experienced since I was in high school, because I just like opened a business, got married, had a lot of kids, and it was a blur for sure. So naturally, of course, 2012 comes and I'm like, I need something fun in my life. Okay, we pick up a surfboard, learn how to surf. 2009 is when he was in the midst of adrenal exhaustion, so much so that like we had never camped, I handed him a set of keys to a motorhome that I rented, and like, we're going on a road trip. First road trip ever. It's pretty ironic considering our life is a road trip. But handed that, this is simultaneous with the adrenal exhaustion. Biggest clue of adrenal exhaustion, hangry. You can't manage your blood sugar when you have adrenal exhaustion. So you're constantly like, feel like anxious if you're not eating. If you feel anxious while you're eating, that's not normal. That's like, message me. So we're on this road trip. We do it. It was fun. It was great. We went to Sequoias and Lake Almanor, whatever. We come back. After that, we did in 2010. We bought a Class A. So many things happened. We did more road trips. We actually opened a second business, thinking like, oh, we should grow. More, yeah. It didn't work. We didn't do our research. Whatever. You live and learn, right?
Yeah.
So here we are in 2012, and we're taking a different path. Like I'm done with Tatiana. If you can't tell, maybe there's something wrong with this, but I might be the driving force in decision making. And when you watch our next video, you're going to understand why to make this relationship successful, it takes understanding your personality types, adapting to it, accepting it, and embracing it, really. We're camping like every weekend at the Strand. Right. We live in Chula Vista. We're camping almost every friggin' weekend at Silver Strand.
State
I mean, it's a 15-minute drive, 20-minute drive.
But there was something about being on the beach.
But there's something about just like
fresh air on the beach, and that's when you started. That's when we got you surfing.
That's when I started surfing, and I sucked at it. And maybe I should have taken a lesson, but no, I would never take a lesson.
That's why I always think why you deserve the waves after seeing you. I'm like, oh my god, is she gonna drown?
I would just take. This is the worst place to learn to surf too, and yeah, like smart people would just go take a lesson in Hawaii, or how about in Medewi in like Bali, where like the stupid kooks like just pushed them into the wave and stole the waves from the ones I worked for. Anyways, so we're out camping, and my wonderful husband's like, why don't we just live here? Why are we camping here every week? And that was like a light bulb moment in our life for sure, because I was already questioning like, why do we have this mortgage when
we don't live like living there?
Like I'm like, you work like 60 hours a week.
Yeah.
Like all I do is pick up after the kids. I'm sick of cleaning it. All I want to do is like, I live for being at the beach every weekend so that I can go like get hammered by bad waves because I didn't know any better. Yeah. And so he was amazing. This is where opposites are so great. He's like, why don't we just live here? I'm like, oh, wait, but that's irresponsible. Like the market was upside down then too. We would have to short sell, or worse, we would have to foreclose and walk away from the house and like.
And at that point, that second business was not doing well anyway. So
yeah, there were a lot of mistakes, but they're not mistakes. Like, it's never a mistake if you can wake up one day and be like, I'm so happy I'm right here this day of my life. So yeah, it wasn't a mistake.
So we ended up moving to the Cays.
We moved to the Coronado Cays. It was.